Hi there, welcome to the class of Corporate Finance. This is your instructor, Professor Anurag Singh. And today we are going to touch upon the topic of loan amortization. And every business unit wishes to expand, grow, provided there is a very conducive economic environment and there are enough of a growth opportunity. So today we are going to deal with a small case where there's a company which is into the steel industry and they have an expansion plan. And for that they need a funds, right? So from where the funding would come, and they have decided that, well, they are going to take a borrowed capital, means the loan funding has to happen, and it would be repaid over the some time. So let's go through the case matter, and perhaps it is going to bring some more clarity to us. So we have here a company called Amravati Steel Limited, and it wants to carry out the expansion of their production plant, which involves the expenditure of 50 lakhs. So there is a capital project involving the expenses of a 50 lakh, investment of a 50 lakhs, right? And Mahindra Agrawal, he's a CMD of this company. He shared with the board member who were in the agreement with the expansion plan, but were concerned that how it would be financed. And many board members were also concerned about how the stock market is going to react to this news, as the steel industry was not doing well since the last 3 quarters. And of course, a lot of brainstorming happened, and everybody was in agreement that, well, expansion is definitely a great idea. Nevertheless, some of the board members, they were concerned about from where the funds would come. Some feared that there is going to be a substantial cuts in the dividend. And the big clientele of the company, I mean the shareholders, they were the pensioners who were counting on the regular dividends. So perhaps they will not be happy with this decision, right? If the dividend cuts happen, and it is going to have an adverse impact on the stock prices in the secondary market, right? So let's try to see here what happens next. The chief finance officer of the company, Mr. Swapnil, has proposed the following financing plan. The firm will make a down payment of 20% that will be coming from the retained earnings and borrows the remainder at the 10% interest rate. Loan is to be repaid in the 8 equal installment beginning 5 years from now. So this is really very, very tricky here, that the repayment will be done in the 8 equal installment, but repayment would not start immediately or after 1 year. It is going to be deferred by the 5 years. So this is again an important salient feature of this mini case. And rate of interest is 10%. Assistant manager of the firm, Mr. Prabhas Kumar, is wondering what will be the size of the annual loan installment, and he seeks your help in this matter. He's also interested to know that what fraction of the payment made at the end of the 3rd year will represent the repayment of the principal. So this is the base case which we have to study, and let's try to understand exactly what steps we need to take in order to reach out to the solution. And what we need to find exactly that, well, what will be that equated annual installment amount, right? And that will be paid over the 8 years, starting from 5 years from now, right? And secondly, during 3rd year, out of that EMI that we'll be paying, what will be the fraction of that amount will be representing the principal, and what fraction of amount will be representing the interest part. So let's move on. So in order to have a better understanding, I'm going to put the whole thing on a timeline. Perhaps that will become very handy in order to understand the whole situation. So today we are here, and the loan repayment would start after 5 years from now. So 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year, and 5th year, right? So this is basically the end of 5 years, right? The first repayment would happen here. And for 8 years, so 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. So of course, if I put it right from first, so 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So this is how it would happen. So our loan repayment would start from here, and of course, we will be using the 8 installments. So we will be repaying it over 8 years. So 1st year, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So this is how we have to see. Now, what is a very important thing which we need to find out, that what will be that amount of the loan installment which we will be paying, right, every year. So what will be that annual installment amount here, 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 and so on till 8 years, right? In order to repay the outstanding loan amount. First of all, what we need to find out that what is the loan amount outstanding at the beginning of 5th year. So this is very important. Mind you, this 5 means end of the 5th year. So what is the beginning of 5th year? This. So what is the value of the loan amount outstanding? So we have to find out loan amount outstanding at the beginning of 5th year or end of 4th year. So this is basically, you can call it either end of 4th year or a beginning of 5th year, right here. Just like here, this is end of 1st year or a beginning of a 2nd year. So let's move on now from here. So how to find it out? So what is the loan amount outstanding? Of course, I think you are very much clear that, well, total project cost is how much? 50 lakhs. And what was the down payment amount? Down payment was 20%, that makes 10 lakhs. So the amount which we borrowed, that is 40 lakhs. So this is the amount which need to be borrowed, right? Now this amount has been borrowed somewhere here today, and it remained outstanding till here. We started making the repayment from this time onwards. So what is the value of this money which we have borrowed here, 40 lakhs, right? What is the value over here? So simply we have to find the future value of this amount after say 4 years, right? So future value. So that's very, very simple. I will be simply using the say the compound interest formula. So 1 plus the interest rate. Interest rate is 10%. So it is going to be like this. How many intervening year? 1, 2, 3, 4. So raised to power 4. And this is going to give me the value, right? So I will be showing it in these calculations on my Excel sheet. Well, let's try to understand the same problem using the Excel, and that is going to make our task much easier. So if we go back with the original problem, so the capital expenditure required is basically the 50 lakh, down payment which is coming from the retained earning, that is 10 lakh. So the amount that need to be borrowed, that is say 40 lakhs. And what is the interest rate at which the loan is available? That is 10%. And the repayment term is basically, it would start from 5 years from now and it has to be repaid over the 8 years. So these are the basic kind of given things to us, right? So let's do a step number 1 to find the amount of the loan that is outstanding at the beginning of year 5. That is equals to basically the total loan amount, that is 40 lakhs. We can get it right from straight from here, multiplied by 1 plus interest rate, and our interest rate is 10%. And of course, the loan will remain outstanding for say 4 years, right? So raised to power 4. So this is going to give us exactly what is the loan amount outstanding at the beginning of year 5. So with this understanding, let's try to find out. So now we have a fair amount of clarity that, well, this is the amount at the beginning of year 5 which is standing outstanding. It's no longer 40 lakhs because we didn't pay for say good 4 years any money. We haven't repaid. So this 40 lakh rupee, this has now become 58 lakh rupees, 56,400. This need to be repaid over the 8 years in a equal annual installment, interest rate being 10%. So step number 2 will be basically what will be that amount of annual loan installment, right? So here, in order to find the amount of annual loan installment, I will advise you to use the PMT function for the sake of bringing more clarity. So we can start with PMT function equals to, let's use minus because that's an outflow, and PMT. So when you will press the PMT, enter the PMT, automatically you will get all the legends which will be required. So for the rate function, straightway we can go to the 10%, comma, number of payments we know that it is 8%. What is the present value? Present value of the loan amount outstanding, this is this value. Then the future value, of course, whole amount of a loan need to be liquidated. So future value is 0. Type, so of course the loan amount is to be paid at the end of each year. So I will be using 0. Then let's close the bracket and press enter. So 10,97,747 is going to be our equal annual installment, which we will be paying at the end of each year, beginning from the end of year 5, and will continue till the end of year 12, right? And this is how we are going to repay our loan. Now the question may come that, well, in each installment, how much is the interest and how much is the principal? So we can have one more additional step. Now let's try to see that, well, in each installment, annual installment, what is the proportion of a capital and what is the proportion of the interest repayment, right? Capital repayment and the interest part. So in order to do that, probably we can develop a kind of a sheet like this, that, well, principal amount outstanding at the beginning of the year and the amount of annual installment that we'll be paying, interest part in the annual installment, because when we are repaying, that annual installment will have two components. What is the interest component and another will be the principal repayment component. So can we basically bifurcate both of them? That is the idea. And what will be the, say, principal part in the annual installment and what will be the amount of the principal amount that will be outstanding at the end of the year? So this is what we are trying to figure out, right? So let's move on here. It's pretty simple, I would say. So what is the principal amount outstanding at the beginning of the year? So that is clear. The principal amount outstanding at the beginning of year 5, this value is already given to us. Amount of the annual installment value is, we have calculated using the PMT function. So we can enter it. So interest part in the annual installment. So we all know that interest part is 10% of the amount outstanding. So let's see, this was the amount outstanding in the beginning. Let's try to find out the 10% of it. So this is the 10% value. So principal part in the annual installment, that is equals to the annual installment minus the interest part in the annual installment. So that is going to be this value. Now how much of a principal amount is still outstanding at the end of the year? It's pretty simple. You take the value of the principal outstanding at the beginning of the year. From that you deduct the principal part that has been paid during the first year. So this is the amount of the principal still outstanding at the end of the first year, and the same amount will be the amount of a principal outstanding at the beginning of the year 2. Here it is the beginning of the year 6, right? And of course the amount of the loan installment that will be paying, the total annual installment, that is going to be the same value which we have calculated using the PMT function. And here again interest part will be again 10% of the amount outstanding. So here it is basically 10%. We can enter it. Then the principal part, we can simply use this thing. We can even drag it down like this. And of course, here also we can drag it down like this. So here we have a fair amount of understanding now. And we can simply drag the whole values because they are embedded with the formula. So we can simply do it like this. We can pull it down. You can pull it down here. So up to year 12, and see here we got the whole calculation, whole table has populated. So at the end, so this is the amount of the annual installment that is not changing, but of course the amount of the loan outstanding, it is declining. And when we pay the last installment at the end of the 12th year, see the loan amount stands to be nil, outstanding. Same thing we can depict it on the piece of a graph. So we can select these two things, that, well, for the each year, this is though our total amount, but this is the interest part in the annual installment and this is the principal part in the annual installment. And we can select it and use basically the insert function, and using the recommended chart, we will find this chart. So this chart depicts that, well, this is the bar length is same for each year, and it shows that, well, though the length is same, but for each year we are seeing that, well, the blue part represents the interest part and the orange part represents the principal part. So blue part is initially on a higher side, but gradually it is declining in the proportion, and gradually the orange part, that is the principal repayment component, that is going up. So this is again a very interesting learning thing, that when we make the repayment of a loan, initial installments, they have a larger proportion of the interest because big amount is still outstanding. So the interest on that is the big component, right? And gradually as we draw closer towards the maturity, right, when the repayment is about to get over, we will see that interest part is reducing and the principal repayment becomes larger. So this is all I wanted to communicate to you. I hope you like the whole case and the situation involved, and how to handle this kind of a problem, loan amortization problem, essentially using the Excel worksheets. So see you in other sessions. Thank you.